What's going on? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Attacker Productions. Today I, Bancroft, join you all once again to go over another deck profile. Not just any deck profile, but Drip-Ku. So this is actually the first deck I got the chance to play with the new set, which is pretty cool. Absolutely loved it. First time playing it, I went around and I scrapped probably about 25% of those cards and just adjusted it. So this is my new take on it. It's what I'm currently playing it with. So hopefully you all enjoy it, and keep on those buttons down below. Feel free to click them there for a reason. But let's get into today's profile. So Son Goku. Auto, add one card from your life to your hand. When this card attacks, you look up top 5 cards of your deck, and you get to play up to one yellow unison card with a specific cost of 1 among them with a marker on it in rest mode to shuffle your deck afterwards. So it just helps you get the engine going. That way, potentially you get to play. There's really in my opinion, a good turn 1 unison play. And then there's a follow-up to that, obviously. So hopefully you see it in the top 5. Once your life is 4 or less, you can awaken, which is draw 1, switch from your energies to active mode. Now once you've awakened, once per turn, when this card attacks, you draw 1 card, then play up to 1 yellow unison with a specific cost of 1 from your hand with a marker on it in rest mode. So that way it kind of keeps the ability, but now it's cards in your hand instead of just searching top 5. Then the activate main for 2 yellow energy. Place 8 yellow unison cards from your drop area to the bottom of your deck. This switches card to active mode, and it gets plus 10,000 power and double strike for the turn, which is pretty cool. So pretty much you get to swing for 15, pay 2, restand it. Now it's a 25 double strike, and hopefully you're going for a game if you're doing that. It has an activate battle for Spear Boost X. If it's your opponent's turn, for each marker you remove using the skill, this card gets plus 5,000 power for battle. If you just don't want to combo cards off your hand, this is a great way to just kind of like, especially a lot of times when you play a 1-drop unison, it's at 3 and you plus 1, so it's at 4 right away. So you can always just activate battle for a free 5k combo, get out of an attack. Best way of doing it. And if you need to, in a pinch, you could just take away all the markers, get either potentially a plus 15 or plus 20. So it's pretty cool. Unisons we play in this deck. So like I said, ideally there's a one you want to play immediately turn 1. That is Vegeta. Vegeta is pretty cool. It does have an empower when, so pretty much all of the unisons have empower. Most of them are empower 2. There's one that's empower 3, and I think I have one that's empower 4. We'll just go over those when we get to them. But the honor on this one is when this card, if this card has 3 or more markers on it, when this card is played, you choose one of your opponent's battle cards with an energy cost of 4 or less in rest mode, and you KO it. Then this card gains additional 5,000 power for the turn, which is pretty cool. Auto, when this card is placed in the drop area from your unison area, you draw 1 card. That's kind of why you want to get off the leader swing, because then you can use your 1 energy to play another unison on top of that. That way you're getting that draw on turn 1 from there. Plus 1, it gets plus 6,000 power for turn. So initially, if you have to pay 1 energy for it, it's a 10k on turn 1, which is pretty alright. But the unison you want to follow it up with is Piccolo, because Piccolo has an empower 2, which limit 1 when this card has 3 or more markers on it. When this card is played, you draw 1 card. So initially, you play the Vegeta, and you just follow up with the Piccolo. It's immediately a draw 2, which is pretty nice. Piccolo has activate main plus 1. It gains plus 10,000 power for turn, so it's a 15k swing for 1 energy. That, like I said, initially draws you 2 cards. If you don't see Piccolo, there is a backup option. I only play 2 of them, but it is Super Saiyan Yamcha. It's just Yamcha using a yellow key blast, making him look like Super Saiyan. But if this card has 3 more markers on it when it's played, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards, switch them to rest mode. It has a plus 1, this card gains 10,000 power for turn, or a plus 0, draw 1 card. And truth be told, if you're playing it for 1 energy, most likely it has 3 markers on it right away. I have no problem doing the plus 0 just to get the extra draw, instead of having to worry about swinging with this card, especially if you're playing it in rest mode off the leader effect. Ideally, turn 3, in my opinion, is if you can make it to turn 3 without awakening, it's an ideal turn 2 awaken. But we also want to play SS2 Son Gohan. This is probably one of your in-game cards, truth be told. But if this card has 4 more markers on it, when this card is played, choose up to X of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, or X is equal to the number of unison cards in your drop area, and KO them. So pretty much, it can clear a board, which is pretty nice. It is Blanker. It has a plus 1, which is a draw card, but like I said, it has empower 3. So initially, when you're playing this card, it has 6 markers on it right away. And a lot of times, you're going for the minus around this effect. So choose up to 1 of your leader cards, this card, and the chosen card to get plus 5,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So when you play this card and you do the -3, your leader's 20k until your opponent's turn, makes it harder for your opponent to actually do damage to you. And this card right here gains triple attacks. So initially you get 225 swings, leave it standing up if you need to. That way you have a blocker as well. And then, like I said, it's just harder to hit you from that following turn. The other unisons I play in this deck are typically tech options and could be sided out during the best of 1 sideboard or even best of 3. And that is 2 TNs. I play the TNs. So they have an effect where 3 markers on play. When this card is played, you choose one of your opponent's unison cards and you switch it to rest mode. Against blue, that's really important, especially if they're playing the blue one. You just tap their blocker, that way they can't swing with it. Or any other unison that may have blocker, just tap it so they can't use it. +1, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. It can't be switched to active mode until the end of their next turn. So it shuts down key cards, which is pretty nice. And then -3 is choose to one of your opponent's leader cards in rest mode, and it can't attack until the end of the next turn. So certain matchups, TN's -3 is just straight up, you play it -3, now they can't swing. Especially like, say, SS4 Vegeta. Doesn't matter, they just can't swing with it, so they can't now get the ability. Now if they were to awaken, obviously it's new. If I recall correctly, it's a new instance of the card, so it does allow them to attack. So just -3 when they're awakened, that way they can't get their effects, if correct. The other unison I play is Krillin. This one can be taken out, or sideboarded out. I just like the -3. Sorry, the empower it gets, which if this card has 3 more markers on when it's played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards of energy cost 4 or less in rest mode and negate its skill's return. So I play this because I play the Chila unison, super combo, and we'll go over that interaction. It's just, I feel like it's really good. It can come in handy in some situations. Outside that, you just play, it just works the chain. The unison you get to see, you could switch it out for Yamchas if you want the extra draws from the +0. But this card gets plus 10,000 power for a +1, and a -3 choose to one of your opponent's battle cards. Energy costs 4 or less in rest mode, and you KO it, so it can pop a key battle card as well. But like I said, TN, on the other hand, when it's played, you choose one of your opponent's unison. The +1 is choose one of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, and it can't be switched. So TN overall could be better in Krillin. I just like the fact that it can negate its skills, and that way you can use that for a future combo. The last unison I do play is the Secret Rare. It is Super Mirror. You could play OFZ. I think OFZ is the right one. But this is just such a good game closer. So ultimate dual attack blocker, empower 3. So initially it's gonna have 7 markers on when you play it. +1 when your opponent attacks, you switch this card to active mode, which is just really great. So you can just proc that after you've blocked it once, which is pretty good. The -4 is what makes this card so important. You choose all of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, ignoring barrier, and KO them. Then choose 2 of your opponent's cards, switch them to rest mode. So pretty much you play this, you -4, you're tapping 2 of their energy down. That way they have less energy to negate with you or even do anything to the terms of stopping your attacks. This card then gains 15,000 power and double strike. So now it's a dual attack, double strike, 40k unison. So you swing, that should be game. And if it's not, like I said, the +1 allows you to restand it, and that way you still have the ability to walk with it during your opponent's combo step. We do play 2 of the 1-drop Sun Gohans. It helps search any of the unisons with an energy cost of 3 or less, or Pacific cost 3 or less. And you can pay 2 energy if you have 3 or more yellow energy. You place this card in its owner's drop area, play up to 1 SS2 Gohan Zeke Fighter from your hand with 3 markers on it. Mainly just use this to search for the unisons that we need. And when unisons get put into the drop area, I play 3 of the battle card Gohan, which has barrier, which allows you also to combo card unisons from your hand. So limit 1 yellow energy. If oh my goodness, if your leader card is yellow, Son Goku, when one of your yellow unisons is placed in the drop area, you play this card from your hand. It has barrier, so it should be protected in most cases. Activate battle once per turn. Discard 1 yellow unison card from your hand. Choose to one of your yellow leader cards or unison cards, and it gets plus 5,000 power for battle. Cooler's leader auto is better, but this is just a nice secondary option to use if you need to use it. I did play the Trunks in the original build, but I felt like Trunks just got in the way, and I never really wanted to play, and I always just charged it, so I just took them out for other good things. Things that work great with the Unison is the Vegeta free blocker, which taps the card coming in rest mode. Really good. I only play 3. You could play 4, but that's about it. For super combos, I do a 3-1 split. 3 Krillins, just really good. You bottom deck a card, you draw 2 cards. And like I mentioned earlier, 1 Chilai. So Chilai gives me the option to tapping down an opponent's leader card or a Unison card, which is pretty great, especially if they swing with one. It's kind of like, it's almost a game. They get to choose which one they want to attack with, and the other one gets put into rest mode. The secondary effect, if it's your turn, choose one of your opponent's skillless battle cards and KO it. And that's kind of why I added the Krillins in here, because like I mentioned earlier, the Krillins themselves on play will negate the skills of a 4 or less card. So if I feel like the opponent has a particular annoying battle card and it's in rest mode currently, I just play Krillin either off the leader's swing or for 1 energy and immediately combo with Chilai afterwards. That way I pop that card. And other cards that allow me to tap my opponent's cards down: 1 power of Super Saiyan, 1 power of a Super Saiyan. You need at least 1 active mono yellow energy to play for free, which is pretty great. But it just taps down a battle card or a Unison, and you draw 1 card with it, which is pretty cool. And then also play 2 Realm of the Gods Black Kamehamehas, which is a 10k power boost, which is nice. But if it's your turn, you should choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode, you KO it. But you typically use it as a defensive play. If it's your opponent's turn, you draw 1 card and you choose up 2 of your opponent's battle cards, switch them to rest mode. That way, they can't apply enough pressure onto you. So for one energy, it's not a bad play. A little extra defense: 2 Freezes Reinforced Army. It's a take a life, play a blocker. Flying Nimbus. It's one of my favorite all-time yellow negates, but this card typically could be the first one to be sideboarded out, depending on your matchups, because a lot of decks now are using Unisons, or you're getting those just more interactions, which kind of, unfortunately, kind of makes Flying Nimbus not as good as it once was, but it's still one of my favorite negates. 2 Final Flash, because you can't go wrong with 1 energy negating potentially a double strike or even a triple strike. And because this deck can go pretty, I don't want to say the word wide, but it can just spam out Unisons and swing very cheaply, we play 2 Tyrannical Blows, typically for flood control cards. So if they try to play a Bupo, a Topo, or Oceanus, it doesn't matter if they play Mecha Freezes or Robotic Repose, because it doesn't affect Unisons. But if your leader card is yellow, if the battle card being played has an energy cost 3 or less, it's played if its skills negate it for the turn. Choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards or Unisons and negate its skills for the turn as well. So say if you swing and they go, I'm going to use this, boom, but if they have an advantage off the, say, a Unison's blocker or something else, you can just negate its skills. Or even a battle card that has blocker, negate its skills. And yes, I do play Robotic Repose. I play enough extra cards where it matters. And it's 1 energy. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with controlling your opponent's swings. Oh, and it's a 15k battle card. Other battle card negates, obviously play 3 of the Final Sacrifice. Such a beautiful art. I love all the arts in this set. But negate this attack, you play this card. If you have a yellow Unison card in play, you reduce energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, so it's a 1 cost negate. But what makes this card even better, Spirit Boost 1. Place this card in the owner's drop area. When this card is played, you choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. Additionally, if the chosen card energy costs 5 or less, you KO it, then you draw 1 card. Just another way of removing threats on your opponent's board. Just really good negate, and Spirit Boost 1 really doesn't affect you when everything has empowered. For added pressure, 2 Turtle is all too easy. It's either a pop a card, draw a card, or you pop 2 cards. As long as you have 3 or more energy, you can play this card. And your leader is Yellow Saiyan. Another game closer outside of the 2 Unisons is the Return of the Dragon Fist. It works great with Unison decks. Double Strike to Flex, so it's getting played. When this card is played, choose up to oh my goodness, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards in rest mode. You KO them. It has Spirit Boost 2. If it's your leader card is on a yellow, this card gains dual attack for the turn, and your opponent can activate skills on battle cards with energy costs of 7 or less from any area. So for 3 energy, you're playing a boss monster as well, which is pretty good. And just any of those boss monsters attacks, if you happen to have the energy open for it, a counter is always great. Just make sure you get that last hit in there. So I don't have the sideboard right now because I took it apart to build sideboards for other things. But that is at least my take on Fearless Fighter, the Drip-Ku deck profile. Hope you all enjoyed it. Like I said, there's buttons down below. There's an area where you put comments. Let me know what you think about the deck, what you would change differently, or what you're playing your Drip-Ku build. I really do love this build, and I would like to see other people's takes on it and see where they're taking it and how are you doing for your locals. Read your cards, know your plays, and fluff out.